Brought to you by 1AAuto.com, your source for quality replacement parts and the best service on the internet.
Hi, I'm Mike from 1AAuto. I hope this how-to video helps you out. And next time you need parts for your vehicle, think of 1AAuto.com. Thanks.
In this video, we're going to show you how to replace front strut on this 2003 Honda Odyssey. Pretty much the same as any 99 to 03. I'm sorry, 99 to 04. We show you the passenger side front strut replacement. Driver's side is the same. We do always recommend that you replace your struts in pairs, as well as you will need to take your vehicle for an alignment after this repair. You'll need a new set of struts from 1AAuto.com. You'll need jack and jack stands, 8 to 22 millimeter sockets. You'll need ratchets for those sockets with a breaker bar or a pipe for some extra leverage for some of the big ones, an 18 millimeter wrench, some penetrating oil, and a flat blade screwdriver. Okay, so as you can see here, I've got the vehicle raised up and I'm removing the lug nuts with my impact wrench. If you don't have an impact wrench, you want to start with the vehicle on the ground, loosen the lug nuts with a 19 millimeter socket and breaker bar or your tire iron, then raise and support the vehicle and remove the lug nuts and wheel the rest of the way. And you can see here I'm kicking the tire. That's basically just a way, if your tire or your wheel is a little bit frozen on because of the aluminum, just give it some good kicks and break it loose, and then you can remove the tire.
We're going to start by putting some lubricant on the ends of the bolts so that the nuts actually come off on the front and the back side. Go ahead. Alright, so we got an 18 millimeter wrench and an 18 millimeter socket for the top of the end link. The 18 millimeter wrench goes on the back, socket goes on the front, and then you just got to use your muscle to tear it apart.
Okay, and I'm just going to speed up here as we remove that nut the rest of the way.
Now we can pull the end link out.
Okay, there's a couple bolts on top that hold the brake hose and the ABS sensor. Spray them down with some penetrating oil, as well as the two large bolts that hold the strut. The 10 millimeter socket and ratchet to remove the upper or the brake hose, and then an 8 millimeter socket and ratchet or a wrench to remove the ABS sensor wire.
Next, we're going to remove these two 22 millimeter nuts so that we can pull the bolts out of the strut and remove the bottom half of the strut. So most people have ratchets. If you need a little extra leverage, you can always put a pipe on the end of it and kind of get yourself a whole lot more force on it. As you can see, it works. One step better than the ratchet would be a breaker bar. It is obviously a little longer, so you don't need to add the pipe to it usually. As you can see, it normally works too.
Okay, and just see us cheat here as we just get out the impact wrench and pull those nuts off the rest of the way.
Alright, to get these two bolts out, you can see that they're already loose, so we really just got to tap them out.
Okay, just going to fast forward here. You can either just use your wrench, turn the bolts counterclockwise and pull on them and they'll come out, or just use some type of punch or tool to knock them out from the other side.
So now you just basically need to wiggle them apart, and voila, the bottom of the strut is disconnected. Okay, on the top you can see that there's 3 covers, and that's how you access the top bolts for the strut. So first we'll pop the covers off. The 3 bolts on the top of the strut are 14 millimeters. So we'll drop a 14 millimeter socket down there, and get them off.
Fast forward as Jeremy removes 2 of the bolts. We're going to leave 1 on for right now. If you do drop one down in there, you can actually just take that plastic cover, the cover that has the 3 holes in it, pull up on it. You'll see me do it later. Pull up on it, and a couple clips come loose, and you can reach underneath there and grab the nuts if you drop them. And now we'll loosen up. We'll start removing that last nut, and you see the strut start to drop down.
As you can see, the new one looks a lot like the original one, except obviously brand new. So it'll look and fit and bolt in just like the original one did. Okay, you want to put the top in first, and then make sure you put the ABS sensor wire in the right spot. So it has to kind of go under the strut.
Alright, so while one person's lifting up, you can actually lift up this grill here. Okay, grab your new bolts, help guide it up in. And turn it a little bit the other way. Okay, help guide it up in, and then start your bolts on.
Okay, I'm just going to fast forward as Jeremy reaches under that cover, puts on the rest of the bolts, and then kind of preliminarily tightens them. If you didn't have a helper, what you could do from the last scene is put one of the lower bolts into the lower strut mount area, and then just use a jack to jack up the suspension, help you guide the strut into place.
Now we're going to torque these top 3 strut bolts to about 30 foot-pounds.
Okay, I'm just going to fast forward as Jeremy tightens up the last 2 bolts, then puts that plastic cover back down in place, make sure all the clips are secure, and then put the 3 little plastic covers that go over top of the bolt holes into place.
So we need to basically align this by sticking something through the bolt holes and spinning it. Now make sure the ABS wire is in the right spot, and you should be able to get the knuckle into the middle of the strut.
And fast forward here as Jeremy pushes those bolts through, puts the nuts on, and just kind of preliminarily tightens them up. And you want to torque these bolts to between 115 and 120 foot-pounds. Okay, speed it up here as Jeremy bolts on some of the final components, the 8 and 10 millimeter bolts that hold the ABS sensor and the brake line, as well as a little bit later you'll see him put the strut, the stabilizer link strut back on. And obviously we're showing you the passenger side. You always want to replace these struts in pairs. And as well have your vehicle aligned after you do this type of a repair. Put your wheel back on and start all your lug nuts just by hand first, and then while the vehicle's still in the air, just kind of preliminarily tighten them with your socket ratchet, or as I'm doing with my impact wrench. Now again, use your torque wrench and you want to tighten your lug nuts between 95 and 100 foot-pounds, and use a star pattern as you tighten. We hope this helps you out. Brought to you by www.1aauto.com, your source for quality replacement parts and the best service on the internet. Please feel free to call us toll-free 888-844-3393. We're the company that's here for you on the internet and in person.